Hi, welcome to another installment of the Weird World series. This one brought to my attention by one of my Brazilian subscribers. So that's exactly where we go, to Brazil. More specifically, to the city of Alcantara, located on the northern Atlantic coast in the state of Maranhão, where the Brazilian Space Center is located. The base is closest to the equator in the world, which gives it a significant advantage in launching geosynchronous satellites. In the beginning of this century, the Brazilian government approached the USA to sign a cooperation pact for the use of the base. The so-called Safeguard Technology Agreement was very much criticized at the time because it didn't ensure any kind of technological transfer from the US to Brazil. On top of that, the agreement was modified in 2002, granting NASA unilateral use of the base, restricted access for the Brazilians, permission for US rockets to stay on the base, American containers entering Brazil uninspected, the prohibition of Brazilian government investing the money gained for space technology or military use, heavy restrictions. So, why aren't we hearing a lot more about launches from the Alcantara Space Center? Well, on August 22, 2003, at 13 hours and 26, the VLS-1 V03 mission rocket that was supposedly to be launched a few days later exploded on the platform. In the explosion, 21 technicians, almost all from São João do Campos, a city in the state of São Paulo, which house a number of aerospace companies, unfortunately lost their lives. The rocket and its payload of 2 satellites were lost, and the launch platform was reduced into a heap of molten metal. The initial cost of this disaster was estimated to $30 million. If I remember my exchange rates of the time right, it would have been approximately 34 million euros or 120 million reais. The cause was brought back to an inadvertent propellant ignition. In the essence, the engine inadvertently started when on the launch platform, causing the explosion. The Brazilian Space Agency was criticized for its use of solid fuel rockets, which are easier to build and ignite than liquid fuel rockets, but pose a security risk as they lack throttle controls and emergency shutoffs. But there is something fishy going on with the timing of the explosion. The American government had boycotted the Alcantara launch center from the moment the Safeguard Technology Agreement was signed, and under the presidency of Luiz Lula Inácio da Silva, the Brazilian government had publicly announced its disagreement with the agreement. They had opened negotiations with other governments, and at the time of the explosion, the Ukrainian National Space Agency was visiting this to sign a bilateral cooperation agreement with Brazil. Moreover, journalist Flavio Paiva published an article where he claimed a high-ranking official of the Brazilian Air Force told him he feared sabotage by the Americans. They allegedly even enlarged the interdiction zone around the Alcantara base from 50 to 100 kilometers due to these fears. The hotels in São Luís, capital of Maranhão, had a large number of foreigners in the same week of the accident, most of them Americans. One more detail is that since the accident, the Brazilian intelligence agency has found telemetry equipment installed along the Alcantara coast. It usually used to locate large shoals of fish for fishing purposes, but it can be reprogrammed to cause interference in rocket navigation systems. The ones found are activated by remote control via satellite. The source for this story or sources for this story, as always, are linked in the description. I don't say that often enough. If I left something out, don't hesitate to tell me. And in this one, I would really like your opinions and thoughts, especially from my Brazilian subscribers, but certainly for my American ones. Do you think the American government would deliberately sabotage foreign space programs even when they have such a lucrative agreement with them? I personally don't think it's beyond them. Please be respectful in the comments, there are real people with real feelings on the other side. If you enjoyed this video, you can always like and share. You can subscribe if you haven't already and want to see more. And be sure to click that little bell to receive notifications. I have my You Decide channel you might want to check out. And from my corner of this weird world to yours, I hope to see you next time. Bye.